Welcome back to the Cart Barn Podcast. Chris Lemley and Greg Dewalt with you as always, and thanks for joining in. Greg, we are in the full swing of the golf season. I just got through with a golf trip with a bunch of buddies. We went out to Vegas for a few days. It was a really nice trip. One of my buddies was turning 65, wanted to go out there and play golf. Had some great weather. Um, we played the Wynn golf course, which if you've ever been out there or ever played it, it's really it's really phenomenal. And Southern Highlands, which I've played many times, and is one of my favorite Vegas golf courses. Um, Weather was just really super.
Was it blowing hard out there?
It was blowing hard, but I've played in worse, but it was blowing hard.
You guys went at a good time of the year because if you wait till June, July, August, you're looking at 110, and I don't care if they say it's a dry heat or what. 110 is 110.
You're right. It was 85, 87 degrees the 2 days that we played, but it felt like in the 70s here. It was a really good time. I have been out there many times in all different times of the year, and it can get very hot. But excuse me, at night it cools down a good bit. But it was just the perfect weather to play golf in. The weather was just spectacular. No, very few clouds, blue skies, and played well, which is always nice.
I was going to say, Spill, what were your scores?
Oh gosh, we had some little games going. So I do know that I shot under par at Southern Highlands. I made 6 birdies and missed a 4-footer on the first hole. At the Wynn, that's the first time I ever played it. I don't know. I was over par. I had three or four 3 putts, but I had a couple birdies to knock a few back. But it was fun. The golf course was fantastic. It was just the greens were rolling really well. It was nice.
Are they like Scottsdale and that? Do they overseed their courses in the winter?
Yes, they do.
So they were just coming out of the overseed?
Everything was just green. Everything was just green. It was really nice.
It's always like I used to go out an annual media trip to Scottsdale and Palm Springs. It would kind of rotate, and we would go into December, and the overseed would be just coming in, and it was not. I mean, it was all green and everything. It's really nice, and courses are great, but they have to water that ryegrass so much that it just like a sponge in the fairway, so you get no rollout, and makes a big difference. I'm always curious when the courses get a little harder, in February, March, April, as they're coming towards the end of the overseed, how the courses play different from when they're just kind of wet.
Yeah. The golf course they've been having some water restrictions out there, so the golf courses weren't super spongy. They were green. I'm not really sure how all of that works, but yeah, it was a good trip. It was 12 guys. It was a lot of it was just a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. And I think a couple of guys we're going to start watching and listening to the podcast. They didn't know about it, so let's shout out to those guys and shout out to Mike. Happy birthday to him.
Pick up some listeners along the way.
There you go. So you have a trip coming up in the next week or two up to Indiana.
Yeah, we're me and 3 buddies. We've started doing a buddies trip a couple years ago, and we try to go somewhere different every year. We did Branson one year, Big Cedar, and then last year we went out to Arkansas and played a course called Mystic Creek. This year we are going up through Kentucky. We're going to stop and play at Park Mammoth, which is a relatively new course, near Bowling Green, and then we're going to play near Louisville on Friday, a place called Heritage Hill that comes highly recommended from one of my Twitter followers. And then we're going to be at the French Lick Resort. And it's a pretty easy trip. It's like 6 hours to French Lick. So we're going to take on the die course and another course and maybe another course. So those 2 days we're there. So looking forward to that. I've heard great things about the resort. Looking forward to seeing it and taking on a good test of golf.
Well, good. Well, that'd be a good trip. Greg, most of the time when we do a podcast, ever since we started, our focus has always been on the guest, not on us. And this week we're not doing a guest. We're kind of taking a little break from that, just kind of in prep, because when this releases, you and I will be at the Legends Tradition major on the PGA Tour Champions down in Birmingham. I'm looking forward to that because it will be the first time that you and I will record in a different setting than we are right now. And we're going to be having some guests, some various guests, PGA Tour players, and hopefully some celebrities as well, because we're going to be there on the Pro-Am Day.
Yeah, I've kind of been involved. I've covered it used to be the Brunos when it first opened up back in the 90s. And if you listen to our podcast with Gene Hallman, he kind of detailed the history of the tournament. But that really put Alabama golf in a different perspective. We've had some pro tournaments here and there, Korn Ferry Tour, PGA, of course, PGA Championship made a couple of stops in Birmingham, but to have an extended run of a tournament, the Brunos and now the Regions Tradition, it's just great. It brings a lot of golfers together in Birmingham. It's a social event as much as it is a tournament, and you get to see a lot of really good golf up close and personal.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned other golf. Obviously, we've had a couple of PGA championships at Shoal Creek over the years. I was involved in the Korn Ferry. It was Nike Tour back then, in running that event at Cherokee Ridge for a couple of years, along with Barry Holt, who hope we'll have on the podcast sometime in the near future. But yeah, the Brunos, which evolved into the Regions, set the standard, and not only the standard here, but around the country. They're one of the premier events, certainly on the PGA Tour Champions, but rival a lot of regular tour events as well. Well run. And then Gene and his team, which was the Bruno's event team, and it's changed to Eventive Sports. They run a lot of things, IndyCar, starting a road race. They also do a PGA Tour event. They run a couple other Champions and Korn Ferry events. Just that, a lot of that I wasn't even aware of till we had Gene on. So just a great asset to be able to say that they're from the state of Alabama.
Yeah, I think, you go back to the beginnings of the Champions Tour, and I remember when would go down and cover the Brunos, I remember one day Arnold Palmer sat in a golf cart in a rain delay for probably an hour signing autographs. Chi-Chi was there. Trevino, I got a story. I was wandering the back nine one day, and Trevino was there with his caddy, Herman. And if you remember Herman, kind of a big guy.
Big Herman.
And we were standing at the ropes, and lady asked Herman, what kind of ball Trevino played. And Herman just looked around, and he was playing a Top Flight at that time. And he said, "Ma'am, Top Flight pay that man $1 million a year to play that ball. What kind of ball you think he plays?" And it was Top Flight. And it's just stuff like that you can get up a little closer to the players. And last year when I was down there for the Pro-Am Day, just to meet up with Stuart Sink and do some stuff with him, He said it's about as close to a PGA Tour event as you get on the Champions Tour. Of course, they play 54 holes most of the time, and Champions Tour being a major, it's 72 holes, and the crowds were fantastic. So it's a great event, and it does bring a spotlight to Alabama golf, and Birmingham.
Yep. Yeah. Um, so, one of the things we wanted to do today is just really just kind of promote this. It's coming up. It's the 14th, or is the Pro-Am, the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's in Birmingham at Greystone Golf and Country Club, and you can go to their website and get tickets. I think you can even get them at the gate. But if you've never been to this event, you need to go. It's just a really, really good event. The crowds are good, but it's not so crowded that you can't get around. But it's just a fun event, and you get to see guys. I'm looking at the leaderboard as we're recording this on the regular tour. They're playing the Byron Nelson right now, and there's some names that you don't really know. You know all of the names of the people that are playing at the Regions Tradition.
Yeah, it's just one of the treats is you see a guy like Miguel Angel Jimenez playing, and you can watch him warm up pretty close up. You can watch all of them, on the range, which is, to me, that's one of the best places to go. You just kind of sit there and watch them hit balls, and these guys might be over 50, but the sound their ball makes coming off the driver face, it's just different from most of us.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these guys can play. There's no question about it. And I've played Greystone a number of times, and it's not a pitch and putt golf course either.
No, but they like it because it's got the 5 par 5s.
That's right. Yeah, and most of them can reach them all in 2 shots. So helps for scoring for sure.
It's just a good quality golf course, and not a real easy walk, but not a bad walk. There's a couple of up and downs. The 18th hole where they run the spectators is kind of up and down, and but it's very scenic. Just really, and the crowd brings the hype too. They're very appreciative of good golf. So
yeah,
I highly recommend attending. It's not hard to get in and out of. They've got several public lots that shuttle you right up to the clubhouse. And
parking, as far as I know, is still free. I mean, there's a couple, and you just kind of look on the website, but there's a couple of really good parking spots. You go in, they've got enough shuttles running that you don't have to wait very long. You get on, it takes you straight up to the clubhouse, lets you out. Then you can, they've got it down to a science, and it's just a oiled machine and well-run event. So hopefully, if you're listening and you haven't attended, you'll make plans to get out there. What's your favorite hole out there at Greystone to play, and then what's your favorite to watch the tournament?
That's a pretty good question. I think, I don't like 18. I can tell you that, because I always hit it left in the creek. Or if I hit it right, it stays up on the side of the hill, and then I'm swinging at it like a baseball bat. But I think it's 1, 2. I think it's 3 is a par 4. It's got a hill on the left side, and then there's like a creek, water running down the right, and the green is kind of not really a peninsula green, but the water goes to the right and behind it. That hole gives me all kind of fits, but it's a pretty golf hole, and
yes.
It's tough, especially when you're playing it from a little bit back.
Yeah, is the next hole is the par 3 that's right there by the road as you're coming in.
Yeah,
and that hole, that green has got some undulation in it that you don't really see till you get on it. And with the green speeds that they play at, it can be a problem.
Yeah, it's you can't really tug your iron shot on that hole, because it gets going left towards that water, and There's the par 5 on the back nine. I'm not sure what number it is. It has water right to the right of the green, and that green all slopes to the water too, and kind of a tricky green. Not sure if you remember which one that one is.
I think that's 14. I think
that sounds about right.
Yeah, I kind of like watching them come in on either nine or 18. Nine gets really tight off the tee up. It kind of funnels in, and there's a lot of undulation, and it's a really good place to kind of sit, and you kind of looking down on the green. I go there a good bit, and there's a place they haven't got it on 11. Excuse me, 10 is the par 3, and it's not quite enclosed like 16 at TPC Scottsdale for the M Open, but it's getting there, and it's real close. And they do have some public places that you can sit, get something to eat and a drink, and watch the golf. And I kind of like sitting right in there and watching. There's some shaded areas, and there's another spot that you can kind of see the green on 10 and the tee shots on 11. So those are the spots that I like to get myself. But favorite hole to play is probably, I think it's 15. It's the par 3 right after that par 5 you were talking about, and it's it's got a little gully or kind of ravine that you kind of hit over, and the green kind of sits up there, and there's just really no place to miss.
Yeah,
and back, it's about 180 to 200 yards, so it's a good hole.
Yeah, and if they have that pin down on the front left, and you get above it, you can't hardly stop that putt. I don't think. 17's another pretty par 3 downhill.
A lot downhill.
And I was playing. We were playing there in a pro member one year, and we were the next to last group to come through there, and I hit it in there, about 2 feet. And I'm thinking, okay, I got this closest to the pin. There's one group left.
Yeah.
Guess who didn't get the closest to the pin? And one of the guys playing with me said, "You need to sit out here and watch and make sure it holds up."
Yeah,
but we didn't, and it didn't.
Oh me!
I don't know if there's shenanigans or what, but it cost me, I don't know, $25 in merchandise credit. But it's a pretty golf course. Greystone is a pretty golf course. Very, the maintenance is always superb. They always have it in great condition for the pros. So it's well worth attending. If you go for a day, you go for a couple days, whatever. It's just it's time and money well spent to go down there.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked to Stuart. He said that he would come by. Hopefully, we have some other professionals and a few of the celebrities that are playing. We're able to wrangle them in for a few minutes a time, and we'll be able to put together a decent lineup of people for the next podcast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just getting some folks, getting to know some folks, getting some professionals to stop by and talk just for a few minutes about their game, and celebrities. Never can tell what celebrities will pop into the Cart Barn and get some stories from them. I'm looking forward to you, and you're going to be playing in the senior.
Oh yeah, well, I've got so the state senior is the weekend of the region's tradition. So you and I will be there on Wednesday, and the first round of the state senior is that Friday. So good Lord willing, I'll be teeing it up at Musgrove Country Club on Friday.
It's a course that suits your game perfectly.
Well, I have had some success there in the past, so we'll see, hopefully.
You are a year older, though.
That I am.
But anyway, so we hope you guys have enjoyed this week's shortened version of the Cart Barn podcast, where you can hear stories and you can hear truths and you can hear some lies probably every week. So come back, tune in next week for another episode of the Cart Barn.
Yep. Thanks again for listening to the Cart Barn Podcast. We'll catch you next week from Birmingham, Greystone Country Club, the region's tradition.